Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333 and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order. Don't surf. Now, last time we played Hearts of Iron 4, we opted into the good old mod of Kaiserreich, played the two Sicilies, and kind of reunified Italy while not at the same time. Went the whole loose confederation thing, which was fun. Nice change of pace. But as of yesterday, May 1st, the new demo for the New Order Last Days of Europe, Don't Surf, has come out. Now you might be thinking, Don't Surf? The New Order? What the fuck are you talking about? Because it's still not, the mod isn't fully released yet, so you might not know what I'm talking about. The New Order is a alt history mod where Germany won World War II. Instead of them winning World War I, it's World War II. And it kind of strives to take a more kind of story-based, realistic, kind of hesitate to see a realistic, but because they do like a big damn the Mediterranean, the Nazis winning outright is kind of a stretch anyway, but they try to take a more realistic story-based approach, and I think it works well for them. But that's just me. What can you say? Anywho, so the new betas come out. There used to be an old one, was it? Old War Blues, which followed, I'll pop into the map real quick, which gave focuses to these four little nations, and you could go ahead and play them as you wish. The EuroLeague, Magnitogorsk, I think that's how you say it. The Derelvanger Brigade, and then Orenburg. So you can play these little countries and the clusterfuck that is Russia, and have some fun in there if you desire. We hopped in a while back as the EuroLeague, so if you're interested in that, go ahead. Should be a playlist up, so you can go ahead and check that out. But that's not what we're checking out today. We're going to a different part of the world outright. We're going to the southern tip of Africa, because this is the focus of a new demo, mainly the South African Civil War that's supposed to hop up. And I figure, why not play as the titular nation, South Africa, in the Civil War? That, and I don't know if I really want to play as Nazis. That kind of makes me uncomfortable. Though Central Africa actually seems kind of fun, so I might hop into that later, though I don't want to make any promises there. Just give it a shot. But yeah, we're gonna be hopping in as the Union of South Africa. So let's go ahead and start her up. Let me get my timer ready. I won't start it quite yet, but I'll get it ready. Becoming this sick man. Any second now, come on. There we go. Take your time, game. Alright. The Dominion of South Africa. Lakes are few in Africa, islands even fewer, but there may as well be a sea between the Reich Commissariats of Hutik and Schneck and the bright light burning at the tip of Africa. Back against the wall, the Dominion of South Africa carefully slinks across the narrow tightrope of international diplomacy, speaking words of liberty to Washington and whispering promises of segregation to the Reich. The battle for South Africa rages both abroad and at home. The nation is a paradox in and of itself. A dominion with no monarch, the minority governing the majority. Prime Minister de Graaf carefully plays his opponents against each other in order to maintain the shaky stability in his party. Shut up, Snapchat. The Union Party has established. With stability comes a price. To keep the Germans north of Limpopo, South Africa cannot fully achieve a picture of liberty painted for the Americans. The throne of South Africa lays dusty and barren, a dominion only in name, but far from a republic. Across the aisle, the powerful orations of Albert Herzog echo out the nation, attracting the Boer population to the National Party. a party established on cooperation with the Reich and the dominions of white South Africans over the black. All the while, the African National Congress vigorously fights to have their voice heard, figuratively and literally. In the cities, the oppressed march in solidarity, demanding a continent free of division. Meanwhile, in the far-flung outposts, keeping watch on the Reich commissariats, reports trickle in of villages burned and families slaughtered in conflicts between partisan forces and the German African army. The Dominion truly does walk the tightrope, cautiously appeasing on all fronts. The conflict at the Cape is quickly becoming an inevitability. Prime Minister de Graaf must keep the country on the straight and narrow, for if South Africa were to slip from the high wire, God only knows where she'd land. So these are the features that we have. We explore the gifts exposed by De Beers with diamond mining. We balance foreign influence, profit as we try to maintain trade with the pact, and we sway the upcoming elections in our favor. So our destiny lies ahead. So we start off with a fair bit of troops. 20 divisions. So let's go ahead and get these all in the army. We'll go with let's go Charles Frey. Actually, Hendrik Klopper seems like a pretty solid pick. We'll go with Hendrik Klopper. And then for a general, we should go with, let's go Nick Bierman. Sounds like he knows how to party. Let's go with him. And then we're going to want to do a fallback line. Stay out of that state right there. Yeah. Do a fallback line there because... Oop. Yeah. And then we got some research we got to get going on. So let's work on infantry weapon improvement 4. Support weapons 3. And then... engineering. Is there anything good? Let's go transistor computing. I like how there's a new focus tree. I'm not sure what to go down on it. That's kind of neat. It keeps me on my toes. I have to figure out what to do. We also have some industry stuff we could get working on. So let's work on some civvy factories here, here, and here. And then finally, there's only one national focus we can choose. So, you know. I'll go ahead and start my timer. Go with South Africa's situation. 14 days, a very quick focus. Luckily. South Africa is slowly falling into chaos. Civil strife and political gridlock are everywhere, and society itself is slowly fracturing into warring factions, each vying for control of the state. The mere fact that we are a monarchy without a king shows how deep our indecision is. No matter our efforts in mending the rift, every inch of the bridge we build is immediately torn by those who would only gain from our suffering. South Africa is on the brink of total collapse, and only a miracle can keep it whole. However, in these dark times, few remain brave enough to hope. Pretty bleak, but hopefully we'll figure it out. My timer is going. I'll go ahead, just plug my phone. It's kind of low on charge already, and we'll continue from here. Let's get going. I believe they added a whole new world tension thing. So there is a lot of tension already. Hawaiian Missile Crisis. World tension already starts at 75. It's kind of crazy. So we have Republic of India, Republic of Brittany, Kingdom unrest, border tension with us, which is a pretty big thing. How do I exit out of there? Just click on it. Okay. So might as well hop in. Oh, we can assign military factories. That's right. What do we want to do? I'll work on some helicopters, because here those are pretty solid. Oh god damn it, my door opened. I'll get some more guns going, because you never know when you might need guns. Got some tanks going already. Let's go. We got motorized. I don't know if we need much more. Let's let's add on to what we got. Some artillery. And yeah, I'm gonna close the store real quick. Gotta put my money in then. God damn it. This is unprofessional, I apologize. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Hopefully we'll avoid any more interruptions, and let's just get into it. From here on out, we can look at our decisions, and South Africa is actually pretty interesting. We have the pens keep falling. God damn it. We have the legacy of Rhodes, the discovery of diamonds at Kimberley some 100 years ago has turned our country from a nation of farmers into a nation of miners, and since then, settlers all over the world came to the Cape in search of dreams of endless wealth. But the mining trade is no place for adventure. The DB333 Corporation, founded by Cecil Rhodes and now run by Harry Oppenheimer from Cape Town, has full control of the extraction and trade of the precious stones. By working closely with the De Beers, not only have we opened doors to both the OFN and the Unipac's economies, but we now have the means to turn our country into a proudly developed nation, if we can avoid the ire of powers breathing down our necks, that is. So we're able to trade with the Reichspakt, or not the Reichspakt, the Unity Pact, which is the Nazis faction, includes all this whole group here as well as over here. But there are certain things that'll mess with it. I played this a little bit before just to try it out. South Africa before just to try it out. We can attract pack business, which will lower their anger. Or we can also trade with the OFN or ask for station, which will very much anger them. So we'll have to figure out the tightrope. We can also just develop our land. So I think we'll work on developing Cape. We gain a certain amount of diamonds a month. Right now we have 6, so we can't do much in the way of anything right now. We also have free dockyards, so I better get working on some stuff real quick. Probably just convoys, honestly. You can't go wrong with convoys. It's a story of my life. Can't go wrong with convoys. Let's exit out of the faction map mode. South Africa's situation. Just realized I might want to extend this out right there. There we go. Alone in the wild. South Africa, our dominion, stands alone on the continent as a genuine state that is not corrupted by the horrific and brutal ideology of the Reich. It stands alone, free from influence of the Nazis, their new colonies either too busy with the exploitation of their resources for export to Europe or with the maintenance of their borders with the chaos of the rest of Africa. And though we may stand alone and free, it cannot be ignored that we are not ready to endure any more trouble. Within and without, things are coming close to falling apart. In our nation, increasing tensions among our citizens are becoming untenable. The Boers from the northwest are becoming more restless, seeking to impose their vision on us, demanding from us many concessions. It is thanks to Herzog and the National Party that they have a voice in Parliament, and such a voice is becoming louder and louder, bringing predictions of an unwanted but maybe inevitable uprising. In the African National Congress, a party founded by black citizens who are discontent with their living conditions and upset with the way we rule this land, is gradually becoming more daring and defiant. They have the support of many of their kind, both internally and beyond. In time, however, no matter how much we may not wait for it, we may not want it for it. What? We may not want it for it. Something is going to happen. Consequences, both foreseen and not, are looming over our heads, becoming clearer to us only after it is too late. We must prepare for the future, doing everything we possibly can to either preserve our nation as the crowned subjects, or else succumb to either the enemies within or the nightmare of the Reich. May our dominion stand or die fighting for its freedom. So we have the issues we face coming up next. Our country is deeply divided. As the Germans like to say, there is a racial question. The white-speed Anglo boys are heavily outnumbered by the natives, who are almost entirely deprived of political representation. Despite our government's recent efforts to improve our standing, the Africans still live in poverty and without even basic services. Our reforms, however, have caused another drift, this time with the within the white community. The Boers, descendants of the first Dutch colonists, deeply believe in racial segregation, and think that what we are doing will only grant the colored the chance to rebel against their masters. This brings us to the most pressing issue. The Germans are funneling support to the National Party. The Free Reich Commissariats claim they do it to protect the fellow Aryans of Dutch descent against runaway slaves and to establish peaceful relations on the southern border. But everyone knows that the Boers are the perfect tool to aid South Africa to their list, to add South Africa to their list of colonies. No matter what, South Africa will endure. We must. So, yeah. If you couldn't tell by now, this is timeline where apartheid was not enacted by the South African government, though it's still not exactly hunky-dory or anything to live in if you are African. The Reich's last conquest, then the Nazis have landed on the moon. That's not nice. Huh. Sorry if I've kept recruit an operative. We'll go with Petrus Theron, because he's the only person who has a fucking name. And I don't really care about espionage, to be honest, so I'll just kind of leave it there. What was I about to say? I kind of a fair bit. I've been paying a lot of attention to the recent, the dev diary, so I kind of know the Hitler named Speer his successor. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. So I kind of know the whole kind of lore of it, but I kind of want to focus on the African region, mainly because, you know, it's what we're playing as. So what are we going to play? We can do the monarchy debate or the African National Congress. Let's go with the ANC. Wait, I forgot to read it. The ANC, along with their more radical cousins, the Pan-African Congress, is perhaps the greatest long-term threat to our stability. While the Boers are currently more dangerous, this Pan-African vanguard is slowly building up its forces, the more our countries plunge into instability. Despite our benevolent rule, many Africans still complain that society is still largely segregated. The army, the civil service, politics, and even the economy are dominated by the white minority. For them, both Anglos and Boers are the enemy just because we are white. Every day more and more join this organization. Should we fail to conquer their trust with our actions, the African National Congress will surely try to gain true freedom for their people with force. Not good. For us, at least. Right now, we gotta figure out some sort of compromise, you know? Oh, we also have, we have the empty throne. Better go over focuses real quick and all that. We're led by the Union Party, which are conservative Democrats. Should I read his thing? Why not? Succeeding his father's position as Baronet of Cape Town, de Villiers Graaf soon entered the ring of South African politics. He had worked his way from lower echelons, starting his career as a member of the House of Assembly, and eventually his hard labor and commitments paid off as he elected to leave the Union Party in '56. It seemed to Graaf that his ascension to power as Prime Minister was dutifully needed, and to succeed, he had to balance the delicate power, the delicate house of cards, and maneuver his way through the system to prevent his nation from tearing itself apart. Since his appointment, Graaf worked tirelessly to maintain his balance and act. To preserve a fragile equilibrium South Africa had, the bulk of the problems mostly lay from the ramblings of the National Party and Boers, who stalked him with mouths armed with daggers, waiting for a chance to backstab him and free him. Another problem was the African National Congress, an organization established by a conglomeration of blacks who take to the streets and protest daily, all waiting for their long-promised rights and fair treatment. Naturally, Graaf's solution was clear. Suppress both and play them against each other and maybe, just maybe, negotiate some terms to successfully quell their resistance. The year is 1962, and South African teeters towards a collision course. Both the NP and the ANC are getting restless, becoming more radical and dangerous to the government each passing day. The Germans await at the border, sharpening their claws for when they dig into the fresh meat of a Cape Colony, threatening to destroy the liberty of the people. Prime Minister de Villiers Graaff must steer his nation in the right course and prepare accordingly, lest all his hard worked effort be destroyed in one fell swoop. So we have the empty throne, which gives us a hit to stab and a hit to a trade deal opinion factor, while South Africa officially still has a monarchy. In reality, the throne has remained empty since the King George VI, with the government having neither recognized either Edward VIII or Elizabeth II, out of desire to antagonize neither the OFN nor the Unity Pact. The position of the monarch has remained in limbo for nearly a decade, whilst the government has so far remained unwilling to budge. On the issue, public opinion is increasingly asking why South Africa continues to have a monarchy at all. We also have desperate neutrality, mobilization speedhead, division training time bonus, which is nice, and war support hit, also not nice. Despite multiple attempts from the OFN to bring South Africa into their alliance, consecutive governments have consistently maintained a strong isolationist stance and claimed strict neutrality in the Cold War, unwilling to antagonize the German Reich to the north. It would take a truly disastrous situation for our government to abandon this position in neutrality. Well, when you put it like that. Finally, we have a divided nation. Our nation is plagued by internal strife, crippled by political crises. As the African National Congress calls for equal rights and self-determination, the government so far has refused all of their demands for reform. Now as terrorism spreads through the country and the increasingly militant Boers denounce both the ANC and our government, the future of the nation seems rested on a knife's edge. So yeah, we're not doing too hot right now, admittedly. I don't think we can do anything with this quite yet. I don't know if we can do anything with the laws, actually. I'm not sure. I think they changed it on quite American. A tall man stepped out of a plane, carrying himself down the steps, breathing in the South African air. It was something he had long been expecting to breathe, to experience for himself, and to remember. Edward Geary Lansdale steadied himself, bringing his personal luggage with him, and walking away from the aircraft, forgetting about the noise of the dying engines. He looked forward to doing the things he had done before, his identity and his motives protected by secrecy. He thought not that he would quietly rise up the ranks and find his place here. He had humble beginnings, especially as a journalist, and just as silently as he advanced, he maneuvered through the terminal into the rest of the airport, finally reaching a car waiting for him. The easy part was done. As he rode in the back, thinking over the more tedious details of his mission, Edward closed his eyes and envisioned the unit he would forge with the best this land and his own country would offer. Their name wouldn't be too suspicious. It was simply the Studies and Observations Group. But anyone looking closely, especially someone like him, would know that was more than just a mere auxiliary entity. No. This would be the beginning of something that would put the most dread into the hearts of those who would cause South Africa trouble, especially if they were threatening the interests of the free nations. Those were Vice President Kennedy's orders. The Nazis would have to become wary of them. If they would keep walking into that valley, he would sweep shadows over them with this new unit. He would harass them, divide them, press them, and take their comrades away. He would search for their assets, destroy them, and fade away like a shadow would. And he would make sure they would be terrified, even as they rested or waited for order. As long as he played his cards right, and for as long as he kept the unit nice and tight, then he could ensure that his objectives were fulfilled. Serving in the shadows, waiting for the mist of war. So it opens up another little sub point. What do we want to work on here? Let's go. Let's buy some packed guns. reduce their anger with us. The Studies and Observations Group is a team of highly experienced American intelligence and paramilitary operatives working under the wing of the CIA, led by retired Air Force officer Edward Lansdale. They have operated in the shadows all over the globe, supporting and crushing countless insurgencies and rebellions to protect the American way of life. Their arrival in South Africa may be a benefit to our struggle against the Nazis, but wherever the SOG goes, trouble tends to follow. Well, let's go ahead and advise South African troops. I think that's a move. Takes 60 political power, but it looks like we're going to get it a very nice little national focus. Or a modifier, I should say. So we'll go ahead and go with that for now. Let's go ahead and keep on keeping on. Go to speed 5. My frame's at. It actually isn't god-awful like it usually is. It's only slightly awful. Operation Colossus was initiated simultaneously with Operation Blood Brother and has continued following the successful conclusion of Blood Brother. Green Beret units have been instructed to integrate themselves into Chen at multiple levels in exclusively advisory capacity. This advisory has multiple objectives. 1. Improve the effectiveness of Triggerman as much as it is feasible. 2. Prepare Triggerman for integration with Torch forces in the event of invasion by Crusader. C. Cultivate good relations within Triggerman hierarchy and establish assets with both Triggerman and host. 4. Identify Triggerman officers with possible Crusader sympathies. Objectives 3 and 4 are the primary goals of Colossus and are well on their track to be met. Torch advisors from the Green Berets have compiled dossiers on every significant Triggerman officer and have noted several sympathizing with our cause. See Attachment A. Additionally, a clique of officers possessing dubious loyalties to fields have been marked. Attachment B contains a full list. Plans to remove these officers from our positions are currently being formulated. Understood. So yeah, we have a little sneaky a little sneaky, how do I put it? How am I gonna we have option to play a bit more sneakily and kind of dirty with help of the CIA, which is kind of fun and kind of interesting. Which is one of the reasons I like South Africa. Granted, I haven't played the other ones yet. I haven't tried out Oost Africa. Though this one seems kind of how do I put it? Uncomfortable. Sud-West Africa, which is more kind of economic-wise, Air Force-wise, and then we have Central Africa, which actually seems kind of, kind of funny because there's literally a fucking safari, which is fun, you know? It's fun. And yeah. Anyway, should I read? I'll read this real quick. Africa Adio. This is not Africa. The small jeep rolled gently on the asphalt road of the sunny suburbs of Johannesburg. Outside, in the far distance, the black line of Drakensberg visible in the crystal blue sky. Inside, a couple of Italians discussing vigorously, their black driver not understanding a word. I don't know. Gualtiero, crossing into East Africa from the Petersburg Road seems way too risky. I won't get shot in the ass by some SS because of your big ideas. Franco, there's no other way. Taking a detour through Bechuanaland would cost us days, maybe weeks. We don't have an infinite budget, and we knew the risk when we... Jacopechi's sentence was interrupted by the jeep coming to a screeching halt. Outside, a white policeman gestured to stop. Oh, Kazo. The two filmmakers had just arrived within an intercontinental flight into South Africa, using the first 2 days in the Black Continent to film a few scenes of the stark realities of racial inequality in the country. Interesting for sure, but both were aiming for something that would have more of an impact. Now, however, in front of them was a small police cordon, and on the other side, what looked like a small riot. Miners, dozens of them, waving their picks menacingly. Jacopetti asked a policeman what had happened, and as Prosperi was already filming, the cop explained in a thick Afrikaans accent the small mining incident became a pretext for a wildcat strike. As the miners, all blacks, shouted slogans like Africa for Africans, the black, gold, green flags of the ANC appeared as if out of thin air. It didn't take long for police reinforcements would arrive and disperse the crowds, with a generous application of police brutality, all caught on film by Jacopetti and Prosperi. After the riot, when the Italian's jeep started to once again make its way down the now clear road, Jacopetti managed to capture one last shot, rows and rows of small dingy homes where black miners live. And from the doors, children watched as their fathers were being hauled onto armored police trucks and carried away. Well, onward to East Africa. So yeah, we're going to have to get it here, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike it. If you want to see more of my content in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, anything about respect, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I appreciate any feedback you kind of folks might have for me. If you want to send a few bucks my way, go ahead. I have a Patreon link below. I'd appreciate any financial aid you can give me. If you can't, or you don't want to, I understand as well, but I would appreciate if you would at least consider it, you know? Also, I have a Discord down link below if you want to check that out as well. You can join up, chat, play games, and just have a grand old time. We just have a grand old time generally together. I also have a Discord, not a Discord, a Twitch channel. I kind of stream kind of infrequently on there, but if you want to keep track of all my streams, you can go ahead and do that. Go ahead, click the link below, hit follow, and just stay tuned for whenever I go and broadcast. So yeah, that's about it. My name has been DB333, and I would like to once again thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.